You're watching South Asia Newsland, and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 17th of July. Trump says very close to a deal with India. We are in negotiation. UK law firms prepare to file compensation claims over Afghan data breach. And Nepal's Oli government loses majority as JSPN withdraws support. And now for all the details. US President Donald Trump once again hinted at reaching a trade deal with India soon. Speaking to reporters during his meet with Bahrain's Crown Prince, Trump said that the US is working on a deal that gives it access to the Indian markets. He also announced a new trade deal with Indonesia, after which the country may see a reduction of 19% in the tariff rate. We have another deal coming up, maybe with India. We are in negotiation. When I send out a letter, that's a deal. We have some pretty good deals to announce. We are very close to a deal with India, he said. Reports suggest a delegation from New Delhi will hold trade talks with Washington this month. The two countries look forward to work on the disagreements over duties for various items, finding common ground that suits their interest. Trump last month hinted at a very big trade deal with India after a team of negotiators from both countries held talks on the agreement. Trump has given a deadline of 1st of August and threatened that higher tariffs will be imposed on countries after that. The tariff implementation was initially planned for April and later paused for 90 days. It has now been extended till August. And days after India released its preliminary report on the deadly Air India AI-171 crash in Ahmedabad, citing a fuel switch cutoff as the cause, a media report has alleged the flight commander may have deliberately cut off the engine's fuel supply. The Wall Street Journal, quoting unnamed sources familiar with early US assessments, reported that cockpit voice recordings reveal First Officer Clive Kunder, who was flying the aircraft, asked Captain Sumit Sabharwal why the engine fuel switches had been moved. The report did not specify who moved the switches, but cited pilots who reviewed the Indian probe, saying Kunder likely wouldn't have had the capacity to do so while piloting. India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, in its preliminary report last week, confirmed both engine fuel switches moved from run to cutoff within 1 second just after takeoff. The report did not assign blame or determine whether the action was intentional or accidental. Captain Sumit Sabharwal, a senior instructor at Air India, had over 15,000 hours of flying experience, while First Officer Kunder had logged over 3,000 hours. Reacting sharply, the Federation of Indian Pilots condemned the speculation and public discourse surrounding the crash. FIP President Captain C.S. Randhawa dismissed the Wall Street Journal article as baseless, noting that the AAIB report did not cite pilot error. He pointed to a 2019 ANA incident where both engines shut down without the pilot touching fuel switches, raising questions about possible throttle control malfunction accommodation system faults. Boeing must thoroughly investigate and verify TCMA integrity, Randhawa said. Flight AI-171, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, was headed from Ahmedabad to the UK's Gatwick Airport with 230 passengers, including former Gujarat CM Vijay Rupani and 12 crew. It crashed shortly after takeoff, killing all but 1 on board and 19 on the ground.
We've been condemning all these American reports because the preliminary report by the AIB has not at all blamed the pilots for doing such actions. So it must be understood that one thing is very clear, that neither the report nor the Minister for Civil Aviation have said that it is a pilot error.
Home to some of the most stunning landscape, Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan continue to reel under administrative neglect as the region continued to grapple with crumbling infrastructure, broken roads and a complete lack of basic facilities for tourists and local alike. We have a report.
Despite boasting some of the most stunning natural landscapes, Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan continue to suffer from the government's neglect of tourism infrastructure. In a glaring instance of apathy, a popular waterfall spot that had organically developed into a source of livelihood for locals was recently razed by Pakistani authorities, despite a court-issued stay order. Locals who had invested lakhs of rupees and years of hard work to make the site accessible and attractive for visitors were not only evicted without warning but reportedly detained by the police during the demolition.
हमने शुरू से ये सब शहर को आबाद किया। ज़लज़ले से पहले ये जगह ऐसी नहीं थी कि यहाँ टूरिस्ट रात आ सके। ज़लज़ले में शदीद ज़लज़ले के बाद यहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा पत्थर आ गए थे, यहाँ से गुजरने का रास्ता भी नहीं था। हमने अपनी मदद आपके तहत इस सब शहर से पत्थर हटाए, रास्ता बनाया। हमें तकरीबन अपनी मेहनत के साथ साथ हमारा लाखों की मालियत भी लगी पत्थर निकालने में।
Visitors from Gilgit-Baltistan have highlighted similar issues, complaining about narrow, broken roads, the absence of food stalls, and a complete lack of rest facilities. Tourists and locals alike have called for immediate intervention from tourism authorities, pointing out the lack of huts, rest stops, or even basic signage.
यहाँ पर जो लोग सिर्फ खाने के लिए आते हैं, न कोई दुकानों में फल फ्रूट का कोई बंदोबस्त है, न और कोई चीज़ें। अपने साथ सब कुछ गिलगित से या यूँ से लेकर आना पड़ता है। हमारे लोगों को चाहिए कि साथ साथ ऐसी अच्छी जगहों में, दरिया के किनारे और इन जगहों में खाने पीने के लिए कुछ सियाहों के लिए जो सियाहत के गरज से आते हैं, उनके लिए मैसर होना चाहिए। तो जब तक ये लोगों में ये शऊर नहीं आएगा तो इस रोड का उनके लिए कोई फायदा मुझे नज़र नहीं आता। फैसिलिटीज़ की कमी है, इस वक्त मसाइल है। इस वक्त चूँकि रोड भी मुख्तलिफ उस पर काम जारी है, सयाहों के लिए मुश्किलात है, लेकिन चूँकि ये सारी मुश्किलात को बर्दाश्त करके ही आपने ये रोड को मुकम्मल करना है। उसके अलावा ये है कि सयाहों के बैठने के लिए और दूसरे फैसिलिटीज़ की बहुत हद तक कमी है। तो उम्मीद है कि उस तरफ भी अगर महकमा सियाहत तवज्जो दे, यहाँ पे जितने पिकनिक स्पॉट है वहाँ पे कुछ हट्स बनाए, कुछ फैसिलिटीज़ दे फैमिलीज़ के आने के लिए, सयाहों के आने के लिए।
Pakistan's failure to invest in tourism infrastructure in POJK and Gilgit-Baltistan reflects a broader pattern of neglect in these occupied regions. While locals take initiative and invest their own money to develop tourism sites, Islamabad's response has been indifferent at best and repressive at worst.
Several UK-based law firms are now filing compensation claims for Afghans affected by a major data breach under the UK government's Afghan relocations and assistance policy. Reports say each affected individual could receive up to £250,000. The leak, which exposed names on Facebook in 2023, has been called one of Britain's worst security breaches. The secret relocation plan by Ministry of Defence, initially under a media gag order, was revealed after a court lifted restrictions on July 15th. Many Afghans now face a serious threat to life, having worked alongside British forces and now being targeted by a Taliban, a lawyer said.
These are people who, according to the Taliban, are seen as enemies. And the Taliban has now categorically stated that they are stopping anyone on their list from leaving the country, and they are aggressively looking for these individuals. So there is a very real threat to life of people who are in Afghanistan. And our clients have essentially told us that the ones that are based here, they don't feel safe that they can ever return to Afghanistan. And they also now feel that they might have to look over the shoulder in case someone who's sympathetic to Taliban tries and brings harm to them or their family members.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has welcomed further investigations into the data breach. Starmer told Parliament there are serious questions to answer over the matter, adding that his government is just getting started. At least 4 were killed and many others were injured after a rally by the National Citizen Party turned violent in Bangladesh's southern town of Gopalganj. According to Nahid Islam, the convener of NCP, the rally by his party was commemorating the 1-year anniversary of protests against deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina when it was allegedly attacked by Awami League cadres. In a post on X, Interim Government Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus said preventing young citizens from peacefully holding a rally to commemorate the one-year anniversary of their revolutionary movement is a shameful violation of their fundamental rights. Calling the incident a heinous act, the statement further said that the perpetrators will be identified and punished accordingly. The city was under curfew till the last reports came in. Deadly student-led protest in August last year forced on the ouster of long-time Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Since then, critics have raised concerns over the deteriorating law and order situation in Bangladesh. Political turmoil in Nepal does not seem to die down as the Janta Samajwadi Party Nepal withdrew its support from Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's CPN-UML-led government on Wednesday. With this, the Oli government has lost its majority in the National Assembly, the upper house of the parliament. Upendra Yadav-led JSPN walked out of the ruling alliance with immediate effect, leaving Oli with just 28 seats out of the early backing of 31 lawmakers in the upper house. JSPN highlighted that the government failed to deliver what was promised and cited that it could not ensure good governance, corruption control, and the country's economic development. Though the ruling alliance still holds a majority in the lower house, but the bills endorsed also need to get the nod in the upper house. Despite the withdrawal, Oli government is not constitutionally required to seek a vote of confidence in the House of Representatives. As Article 100 Clause 2 of Nepal's constitution mandates, vote of confidence only if a party that is participating in government withdraws support. JSPN, although supporting the government, was not a coalition partner. The opposition parties now hold a majority in the upper house with 30 votes in their favor. And that's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Till then, good night.